Hi there, my name is Shane Symington. I'm the 2022-2023 Students Union President, and this is the campaign workshop. So while the info session provided you with the necessary information for the ground rules for the campaign period, this is more so a resource for building out your campaign, figuring out where your campaign objectives are, understanding the scope of your organization, coming up with the vision, budget management, time management, and more. So from the highest level possible, you've got to have more than a few campaign objectives. So what should those campaign objectives be? Well, first and foremost, you should want to be presenting unique ideas. What are some high level points about the student experience that you like and dislike? What are some strengths? What are some weaknesses? You should reflect on your experience and then go from there. Beyond that, you have to present action items that stem from your ideas. So once you've kind of figured out what you do like, what you don't like, you feel this way, so I will do this as a result. That's an important point to translate ideas to action items. So for example, I like Shane's ping pong table. Everyone's been using the ping pong table, therefore I feel like I should buy more ping pong tables. You should also try and find interesting ways to engage with students, Think about it in the sense of if a student didn't care about anything that was going on, what would make them care? Why should they care about you? Finally, you got to present yourself as a leader. You're going to be the face of the students for the next year, hopefully, so you have to convey yourself as such. Be diligent and put in the time to understand the scope of the organization that you become a part of, because you don't want to be making promises that you can't keep. During my time campaigning, I decided to meet with a bunch of people within the organization so I could better understand what I could and couldn't do within the role as president. Beyond that, if you go onto the organization's website, you'll probably find a bunch of information that further helps you figure out what you can and can't do and what the full scope of the organization actually is. So when coming up with your vision, a huge part to consider is what are the wants and needs of the students. But a big part of that is not all students are the same. Different students are going to have different wants and needs. Who do you want to connect with? There could be students in Res Life that have these types of priorities. There could be students within the Students Union volunteer group that want to see this. There could be athletes that you might be able to have an impact on. So figuring out how to cater to all of their wants and needs is extremely important when trying to figure out how you can essentially win the most votes. So once you understand the many different students here at Laurier and their many different wants and needs, you can then double back to the information you now understand that you got from the website and from meeting with people to understand the scope of the organization of how you can help each and every student group. Beyond that, once you have those ideas, a huge part of it is figuring out how you can communicate your solutions effectively to all those students. Another huge part of campaigning is figuring out and selling what your distinct competitive advantage is. What makes you stand out? What can you offer that makes you stand out from any other candidate? And then once you figure that out, how can you leverage that? How can you communicate that? So for an example there, I was a student who was involved in athletics, I was involved in residence, I had been involved with the Students Union on the governance side. So I felt as though I had a very holistic understanding of the many different student experiences that could be had at Laurier, and as a result, that's how I sold myself. That was my distinct competitive advantage. So when building your vision and building your platform, you should be reflecting on your experience. So what has positively affected your student experience? What has negatively affected your student experience? What's worked for you? What hasn't? What have you enjoyed and what have you felt needs improvement? And what can you do to make it better? So something I felt negatively about was when we would sell Krispy Kreme donuts for Habitat for Humanity, and the only way to get students to pay for that was through cash. So I thought it would be a good idea to implement a point of sale system that would allow students to tap their card. So a huge part of your campaign, almost half of your campaign, is going to be your social media strategy, right? How can you use Instagram? How can you use Facebook? How can you use Twitter? How can you maybe even develop a website? Anything to connect and engage with the Laurier students that might be voting for you. Will you be promoting giveaways? You should be promoting the debates that you'll be a part of. You should be promoting when you'll be boothing. This is all to keep people engaged and keep people paying attention to what you're doing throughout the campaign period to make it easier for them to understand who they're voting for. So obviously the other half of it is going to be the in-person strategy. So a lot of things to consider there, where your poster is going. With respect to the presidential election, we have a 50 poster limit and they must be approved by the Dean of Students office. Another huge part of things is when and where are you boothing? You have to make yourself again noticed to different student groups, so that's something you have to be conscious of. You also have a 4-hour per day cap, and booking is done through SUCRO at WLU.ca if you would like to book spaces around campus to booth in. The other thing is, how can you make yourself and your campaign noticed and distinct? A huge part of this in the past has been getting campaign merchandise or campaign t-shirts to promote those who are supporting you. A large part of the back end of your campaign is going to be budget management. So in order to effectively manage your budget, you should be double checking exactly what your allocated budget is for your campaign. Build out a spreadsheet before your campaign that accounts for all your planned spending, including taxes, including shipping, and including maybe a little bit of extra just in case an expense comes up that you didn't actually expect. You should also ensure what you're paying for is within the election policy beforehand. In the event it's not, either you'll be paying for something that you're not allowed to use, or you're going to be paying for something that won't be reimbursed. Be creative with what you spend your money on. You can do giveaways, you can pay for social media boosts, you can again use merchandise. You'll obviously have to consider the smaller things like pins, poster printing, anything like that. It all factors into the budget. Another effective way to go about budget management is through discounts and sponsors. For example, there are clothing companies around here in the event you wanted to do t-shirts that offer student discounts. It's important to inquire in case those are opportunities that are available to you. Additionally, if you want to consider gaining sponsors, so having someone come in, provide you with a product to give away, they might give you that product that is at a discounted rate, which might help your campaign budget. So an important thing to remember is if something is given to you for free, its value still goes against your budget. So let's say you won this Students Union sweater in a giveaway completely for free, and you decided to give it away for your campaign. That would still be $35 against your budget, because even though you got it for free, the value of this is $35, so that's the value it will count against your budget. A huge part of your campaign will be time management. You'll have to balance your course load and your other responsibilities with prioritizing your campaign and trying to win an election. So you should email your professors and those you're accountable to, making sure that they're aware that the campaign will be occupying the majority of your time during the election period. This way they might be a little bit lenient with you as you are spending more time doing something else. You should also consider taking a reduced course load or reducing the amount of hours you're dedicating towards extracurriculars during the election period so that you're more available to carry out your campaign. And then this goes for anything, but plan out in advance when things are being done. Social media schedule. Have your posts all set to go out on different days, different times in advance. When are you boothing? Who's boothing? Who's going to be in that booth? Making sure everybody's on the same page so that you're not spending time trying to clean things up when you could be doing something else within your campaign or be trying to bang away at schoolwork during your campaign.